Welcome to Flatfoots and Fools, a podcast about detective games. I'm Andrew, and as usual, I'm joined by my partner, John. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Happy to play this one.
Yeah, this has been a goodie, because today we are here for the case of The Roottrees Are Dead. And specifically, the Steam version from 2025. We're going to start with where this game came from. So this started as a game jam game from a game jam focused on the concept of roots. And a little tiny side tangent, another game from that jam also wanted to look at family trees. So it was in the jam at the time.
So I want to say something at first because I was picking games by completion time and I had no idea what this game was going to be. And in my notes, it literally says, oh, so it's not a murder mystery. So it's about trees, but family trees. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Oh yeah, this one's a good ride. So it starts as a game jam game that's developed by Jay Johnston, and one of his friends had a bunch of Midjourney credits at the time and was like, hey, we can use these to do the art for the game. And so they made a family tree game where all the portraits were generated by Midjourney. And then after the game jam, a lot of people were really enjoying it. And as happens during a game jam, it wasn't quite finished. So he took the time and fleshed out the game, made it more of a complete experience. And it was posted on itch.io. And it started growing in popularity. And it sort of took off from there. Later, the developer Evil Trout found the game and offered to make a full Steam version. And for this, they commissioned all human art, though it's vaguely modeled on the originally AI art, which is why some people still think that the Steam version has AI art. It does not.
I'm not going to lie, when I was playing it, I was wondering if it was AR because I've been playing a lot more with it and trying to spot things because I see my nieces and nephews and my dad constantly watching stuff. And I'm like, I got to point out to them what's real, what's not, and why.
Yeah, so it's got a bit of that same style, but no, this one is all human. They made sure on that one. And they've said, yeah, they're never going to charge for the itch version because it has the AI art in it, but it got turned into a full Steam game, programmed a new engine. They added a bunch of quality of life features to the Steam game. And then they added an entire bonus game on top of the original game called Roottreemania. And that one was designed by Jay Johnston and programmed by Evil Trout. So when you buy the Steam version, you get not only the game from Itch, you get a whole nother game on top of it. So let's jump into the fun part. What is this game?
It's a game about family trees, a genealogy game. It is not a game about murder, but it does start with sax music, which is why I thought it was about a murder mystery. And it's a rainy night and everything like that.
It does have that nice jazz background music.
So this game, like, you're on your computer, a lot of 90s, what was it, based in 1998?
Yeah, so you have 1998 level of tools.
Loading screen is like Windows 3.5. I don't even think you used 3.5.
No, my first was 95.
God, I'm old. So it was very nostalgic for me. I was like, ooh, I'm glad we're not using DOS though.
Yeah, my dad had a computer back then, but I wasn't interested in it. And then he got a Windows 95 machine pretty quickly after 95 came out. They started playing Myst on it, and that's when I became interested in it. So I was too young and missed the 3.5 step.
So we have tools from the 90s, you said? We have a basic search engine, I think. No video, that's for sure.
Yeah, so your search engine is not very smart, so you have to put in exact things to get results. So it's pre-Google.
Ah, yes. But you also can look up periodicals as if you're in a library. What was the other third thing? Like you had 3 search engines.
Yeah, there's a library website where if you know the full title and author of a book, it'll give you an excerpt from it.
Mm-hmm.
And your job is to fill out a family tree outline. And you've got spots for photos, names, and occupations. And you're given a batch of starter evidence. The family tree is already outlined for you. And every time you get, in general, 3 identities correct, later 4, it will confirm them. And so it uses the batch correct method from Oberdin. And then there's something that's locked at the end. You can't really see what it is, but you get to unlock it at the end and find out an additional, more challenging question, theoretically.
Yeah, you have the climax of the story.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's like 48 identities, I think, something like that in the first game. But some of them are easier. It's like they give you a name list and then There's a list of 7 notable root trees that are generally pretty easy to find information about, and you can sort of use them as almost like jumping off points.
Yeah. You get a little bit of an easy mode to start with. I mean, there's that many people.
But then you need to keep pulling on these threads, and as you go, it sort of gets deeper. You get to find out these people's life stories and use that to place them in relative terms generally. So there's what, 4 generations? I guess 5 if you count the babies.
Well, if you start off with the first root trees, the three girls, and you go back to see their dad, grandfather, great grandfather, and then the founder of the company. So that's five.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just looking at it right now.
Yeah, 5 generations of people to dig through. And honestly, it's a ton of fun. It's generally kind of like a mix of needing to search for information and then analyze what you've got. It has that really nice kind of the leads loop where you start with some information, you make a theory about where you can search for more. You do your searching, you generally get more information. It can be useful, not, who knows. You've got to sort of analyze what you've got. Maybe it's got the answers you need, or maybe it gives you a new set of leads, and then you repeat. And eventually, you fill out this entire tree. And it's also another thing I should highlight, it's got a really good hint system.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I needed it in this one. I had so much regret starting this game at, what was it? I think I started at 11 p.m. on one night and did not go to bed till 4 in the morning, and I'd work the next morning.
Ooh, bold move.
We will talk about that. I will explain a little bit later.
So then that's the main game. The Roottrees Are Dead. So once you finish the main game, you can start Roottreemania. We're going to avoid spoilers for the moment. It's got an extended tree that kind of interfaces with the original tree some. I think the searching is a bigger part of the game. Like it's harder and more extensive,
Yeah.
but the deductions for where you're placing stuff felt easier relative to the main game. So it's kind of a shift in the balance.
The Roottreemania is more of a mystery because you actually have questions to answer versus the Roottrees Are Dead. You're just finding evidence and slotting them in. It's more of a puzzle than a mystery.
That's a good way to put it. But yeah, it's also really cool. Takes about the same amount of time. Yeah, depending on your speed, I'd say 5 to 8 hours for each one, but you could definitely keep going on some of it. There's a lot of rabbit holes to go down. If you're missing a lead that gets you to a big pocket of information, it can take a while to get there. And that's where the hint system comes in. There's a little rubber duck on your desk that you can ask for hints, and it will give you initially very vague information. And then as you keep checking it for a given piece of information, it'll get more and more specific to help you sort of figure out, okay, this is where I should be searching.
It'll tease you, it'll joke with you at the hints. I'm not gonna lie, at 2 in the morning, I was like, I need sleep, I need help. Normally, I would have tried to be all macho and be like, I don't need hints. No, this hint system was a delight to use because it lets you pick how much you need it. And sometimes you just need a nudge, and that's okay. It's okay. We all need
Yeah.
help.
I needed it quite a bit for the optional spouses,
Heck yeah.
especially the miracle root tree side.
God, that guy's. We'll talk about
Yeah.
that at spoilers time.
So before we hit the spoilers, I really enjoyed this game. That whole leads loop I mentioned earlier is right up my alley. And I definitely recommend this one for lots of people. Like if you think you would like an investigation game with a lot of searching, then this is a really good one. Like, how do you feel about this in non-spoiler terms?
I would not suggest starting it at 11 p.m. As I said, it was all absorbing and it was a good rabbit hole to go down. I've talked about it with friends. It's interesting in this game and some of the others we played, like her story, that I feel that's going to be a theme in a lot of these kind of games. Whereas the cutoff point is the 90s, like the verge of the internet. This game is set in 1998, right? So like now we would have so much more search tools and everything available to us. So this gives like a sweet spot in a snapshot in time in what tools we have available to us. Because like if you have the public library, periodicals, and spider search are the three tools you have. You don't get video in this game. You get some audio, which makes sense. And it's just how people nowadays do searches. It's really accessible to people. I think that this would be a really cool game for anybody who likes true crime. And even if they don't like games, like this is just a lot of search terms going down a rabbit hole. And we have all done that on Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah.
So I really emphatically suggest this one. It will probably be a game that I give to friends who just have something to do. I don't think this game is good for the Steam Deck though, just because the amount of reading involved. So I played this one on PC.
Yep, that's fair. I think this one is better on a bigger screen. But yeah, your point about the 90s, just thinking about that, there's a definite spike in games set there.
And it's gotta be. It's just how the technology works, right? Like how many times we watch a murder mystery and be like, hey, how much different would this be if you could just Google it? Like even when we played Hercule Poirot, Murder on the Orient Express, he had a cell phone. And luckily, the scenario made it a moot point because you were out of cell range, right?
Up in the mountains.
So you can do that. Yeah, with the mountains, like with a snowstorm. So I think we're gonna see a lot of games that continuously be set frozen in time in the 90s.
Yeah, I think what the other ones are, but there's more as well. So there's one coming out fairly soon, The Lost Wiki Korakova, but it's also kind of set in that same way where you're sort of following the Wikipedia type links around to uncover stuff about a fictional Eastern European town and stuff happening there.
Mm.
I think it's also got a very like late 90s internet vibe. But yeah, so as you can tell, we like this one, but now we are entering the spoiler zone. You have been warned. So now we could dive straight in. I could tell the funniest and dumbest thing I did. Initially, when you start out, it talks about that there's three Roottrees sisters.
Those poor
You
sisters.
Yep, they die with their parents in a plane crash, and your sort of tutorial is placing those three on the tree. You need to find their names, occupations, and the most important thing is it lets you know siblings are arranged from left to right, oldest to youngest. Like, okay, I got that for the tutorial setup. Then you complete that, it expands out to the full tree, all 48 names or something.
Mhm.
That rule still applies. Siblings are arranged left to right. For some reason, I concluded that that
Oh,
rule only applied to the original three sisters.
yeah, no, the logic applies to all of them. Yeah.
It took me hours to figure out, oh, wait, these are all arranged oldest to youngest, and then realized, duh, it told me that in the beginning. I don't know on the first playthrough how much time that added trying to figure out where everybody fit in the tree just in kind of like weird relative terms. Because you got the founder, and the
Yeah.
founder's got 5 kids. And
Nice.
it's pretty easy to like figure out who oldest to youngest is within those 5. But if you don't know that it's placed left to right, you've then got to sort of try and figure out, okay, without that, where would I place each of these 5 kids in this tree?
I mean, this game, the method and the protocol is entirely what this game is based off. Like it's genealogy. I don't know if that's how genealogy normally is, but I couldn't see any other reason to not do it that way.
Yeah, it was
It's,
completely me just being unobservant, dumb, some factor. And once I got that, it was like, oh, this makes so much sense. Of course, this is how it would work. And the instructions were literally right there. Like, I have no excuse for just spacing it.
my excuse is, again, as I kept saying, started at 11 p.m. And the whole story is I remember seeing one of my friends on their Steam account that they did this in about 6 hours or something. And I was like, oh, I could do that. I could do that. And then I start playing and I'm like, oh, I'm almost done, not realizing that Roottreemania is also a part of it. It's like 2 o'clock. I got a couple more. I could push through this. As you already know from earlier, I don't go to bed at 2. I go to bed at 4. I was just like so delirious at the end. I was like, the rubber ducky was giving me so much crap. I was like, I need another hint. So I don't have too many detailed notes of me trying to figure this one out. Just mostly vibes. I took notes on the vibes of this game.
Hey, vibes are good. And finding Lauren's diary is usually like the first big moment for people.
Oh yeah, because that's the gossipy stuff.
Yeah, and it kind of allows you to place a lot of the key pieces in the tree. It gives you an idea of what the structure of the tree is. You get some of the group family photos. The terminology used starts to make more sense, where it refers to the first generation of kids or the 5 pieces.
Yeah, the next
Then,
generation and the free spirits.
yeah. And you can sort of start to place the people within those groups at least, which can really help out. And I absolutely completely missed the book about candy adverts. And
Hmm.
it's a history of candy advertising, volume 2. And normal person would be like, oh, if there's a volume 2, there's a volume 1. Guess what I never searched for?
You never searched for the first one, huh?
Never even thought about volume 1.
My excuse was delirious. What was yours?
That one, I don't have an excuse for why I missed that one the first time. Like, it's right there. There is no excuse.
You're supposed to be the detective. I'm supposed to be the fool in this game.
Sometimes we can roll reverse. But in terms of what's behind the folder, I had a sneaking suspicion about that one pretty early on because you can like zoom in on the photo. And so there's the picture of the 5 pieces in the photo. And I'm looking like, this seems a bit odd. Something doesn't add up here. Like, there's a guy in the background who looks remarkably like one of the guys in the foreground of the photo. Who is
Oh,
this?
that one was just because it was clickable for me.
Ah,
I was like, click, click, click. Ooh, what's this?
but yeah, just zooming in there, I'm like, this person looks suspiciously like this other person. Why? And then I don't remember if I did this at the time. You can compare the dates and you can see that the 5 pieces candy is named after his 5 children
Mhm.
in, I want to say 20 or 23. But then Miracle Root Tree isn't born until like 1926 or something. I forget exactly what the dates are.
But it was something like that, yeah.
He would have had 4 children when the 5 pieces was released. What's going on here?
You didn't get to that till the end though, as I needed hints for that. It did not occur to me in my sleep deprived brain.
Yeah, that one, I had all of the pieces sort of floating around in my brain. Well, not all of them, clearly, because I missed one of the obvious ones. But as soon as the question came up, like, who is this? It was instantly like, wait, there's these loose threads that I remember coming across and was able to quickly assemble it.
Who was your favorite mystery of the kids?
Ooh, I think Lauren's family was one of the hardest
Yeah.
ones to piece together. Looks like the Miracle Crew, I got all of the Preacher ones quickly.
The Miracle Crew, they suck as people, man.
Yeah. It took me a little bit to figure out the mechanics side of that family. One of those things that was in retrospect a bit more obvious than I realized. But yeah, I'm trying to remember which the aha moments were from the original. Like that was pretty good. But yeah, placing the mechanics. Like, oh, there's this chunk of the family that isn't into preaching. Whoa.
The mechanic, yeah. I like Clark and James, the musician guys. That
Mhm.
rabbit hole was fun.
Yeah. Jim and Diamond and Clark and Jane.
Yes, Jane and then Kim. Like, wow, they're just sleeping with whole families over here.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's involved there.
Quite the party.
It was the 70s, man.
Yeah, I missed one of the periodicals for music. So I got a good chunk of that filled out, but I didn't have all the details. Like I missed one of their albums.
I think Clark's most recent picture with him balding and stuff like that, I think that's great. That's great.
Mhm.
Because it really plays into the whole timeline or the time progression. I think him and James are the only ones that have like 3 pictures, but his is the most up to date.
Yeah.
Whereas James is just in his glory years.
And you get to see him towards the end of the game as well when he comes and knocks on the door.
Yeah, man. What about Roottreemania?
Ooh, yeah. So the first time I played through, I'd started Roottreemania and then got sidetracked pretty quickly. Didn't get very far into it. But yeah, for Roottreemania, there's the main events of the Root Trees. It happens, and then sort of 6 months later, you're contacted by Clark, who's now running the Root Tree Company. And he says, so we've had a lot of people saying they're secret root trees.
Wait, I don't think we actually said why this is a problem.
Oh,
Like, it's all about inheritance. I don't think we mentioned it yet.
yeah, let's mention straight here. The Root Tree Company distributes money to,
Via trust,
yes, the
bloodline trust.
Clansid Trust. Yeah, and it's anyone who's in the direct bloodline from Elias is eligible. And so now there's some other people that have claimed they're in there. And your job now is to sort through the potential affairs that various Root Tree members had and try and figure out who the descendants are. And then eventually, if they're Root Tree heirs or not. And Hudson had 5 affairs.
He's such a dick.
Literally everyone. Like, Jesus Christ.
No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, 6. Yeah, 6 affairs. So yeah, he was a busy man.
And they were all over the world.
Mm-hmm. It's like part of his business thing was opening up like root trees overseas. And he seems to have had an affair in just about every overseas market he went to. So yeah, quite a moment. So yeah, overall, I thought the searching was a lot harder, but the deductions most of the time weren't too difficult. Like once you had information, it was usually very easy to place it. The most outstanding aha moment for me here was early on, you get a reference to Elias, the founder, possibly having an affair because his wife, Gwyneth, was berating him about someone named Beth.
Bess.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of Elizabeths and Beths that work at the company on and off, and you can try and place them, and kind of nothing really fits in properly. And then at some point, you get the information that Gwyneth had a lisp, the kind that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
makes SS into TH. And right at that moment, you stop and go, hang on, that wasn't Beth, that was Bess. And there's a Bess that's referenced at one point, and that just opens up this chunk of the tree there, and you're like, oh my God. Like that moment there was the most memorable moment for me in Roottreemania for sure, possibly the whole game.
I think I needed a hint to get to that. I think for me it was figuring out that the person that started the Roottreemania, David Fellows, and his shenanigans.
That took a while for me to unwind. Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's toward the climax of the story.
Hmm.
That's at the climax. I was like, when I realized, like, oh, there's some shenanigans here.
Yeah, I had no idea about that until like the very end when you start getting the bits where it's like, oh, someone's been messing with the DNA tests. Like, hang on, wait, what?
Yeah. I started getting pieces together when the lawyer was connected, like the Roottrees lawyers was connected to him. And that's when I had suspicions that something was funny.
I didn't catch the part where the Roottrees lawyer was connected to him. There was the bits about the variation in birth date. Like I saw
Mm,
that and figured like, okay, maybe that's just some potential red herring information. Because again, the DNA test said it was true. Therefore, like it has to have been this side. And then you find out maybe not.
figuring out that something was wrong with him made it so that broke the mental block in my head going, oh, then there's other people that might not actually be Roottrees. Like, granted, like that's what you're hired to do, but the mental block of going, oh, huh. Because I think at that point you realize something's wrong with Ronald Roottree. Like around that same
Yes.
time, you figured out. So like even siblings could not be in the line of inheritance. And I was like, oh, okay, time to reevaluate everything I'm thinking because this time I had sleep. I played this a different day.
Yeah, I was really bad about rechecking old information, and that ended up causing a lot of problems in Roottreemania because often you can research people from the root trees and get kind of updated or new information. And I kept forgetting to do that for various people, even though it was a different day playing. Like, I guess I just mentally lost track of who I had
Hmm.
searched. And I failed at typing a couple of times. Like, I would swear, all right, I'm going to go through, I'm going to check these people's names. I didn't get anything. So that would cause me to miss a really big lead. I'd eventually get stuck. I'd ask the duck and be like, have you tried searching this person? And I'm like, I swear I searched exactly this term. I would put it in spider search again, hit go, and boom, a bunch of new information. I'm like, wait, but I must have already searched this. So I'm guessing I was making typos and not realizing it. Because again, like if I had done it properly, it would have come up. It was there. So I did something improperly and can't put my finger on what.
I think this game was also really well written. Like each one of these people feel like people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of different flavors of people. Like, was it one of the characters is interracial relationship, and that was nice. And it was made it more interesting when other family members pointed it out, so you get a hint of who
Mm-hmm.
is like who's spouse. And then you have some characters mention their cousins, so like actually linking them together with an emotional depth that would have been easy to have just lacked. Like it could have just put like, hey, this is my cousin, like they're related. It wasn't just data points, like it was more than just running searches because it gave like personal anecdotes of people and stuff like that. And it made the jump down the rabbit hole really interesting, which also made like anytime there was inconsistencies like stand out a little bit more when somebody had an ulterior motive, such as the David guy. Yeah, I enjoyed the story down the rabbit hole.
This one, again, I can't recommend this one enough. I've heard people describe it as being part of like the Holy Trinity with Golden Idol and Obra Dinn as like the three most important or popular games in this space. I think that's a bit hyperbolic, but there's a reason why it's one of the three big entry points.
I would argue of the three, this is the best out of them in terms of just like enjoyment and everything. I'll admit that looking like the pictures are AI detracts for me, but visually it is also the best presented. It's very logical if you understand reading the line siblings are in birth order. That's a dig at you.
It was such a dumb mistake. I deserve the scorn on this front.
But of the three, I like this one the best.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it as well. It's also got a very nice and welcoming community on their Discord.
Huh.
You can discuss the two different versions of the game themselves, as well as there's a nice chat with other stuff there. And then, little side note, the Evil Trout, who did the Steam version of the Roottrees, is doing something similar for the game Type Help, which was another itch game that has blown up, which we're inevitably going to cover just because it's very special. And so he's doing the Steam version of that game as well.
Mm.
So like it's not a one-off in that method as well. And I haven't found out what Jay Johnston's up to lately. Don't know if he's continuing in on more of these type of games or doing something completely different. Some devs like to do, like you have a success in one place and you kind of expand on that. And then there's people like Lucas Pope who are like, all right, now it's time for something completely different. Who went from Return of the Obra Dinn to making games for the, what was that, the little handheld with the crank called, like the play machine?
Oh, little duck thingy. But you also missed Papers, Please.
I mean, he did that first.
Yeah. Like Papers, Please to Overdin is like, what is this?
Yeah. And then from Obra Dinn, he jumps to the play machine. So, some people you expect more of the same from them, and other people, yeah, you don't.
I was thinking about that with this game and saying, like, I did enjoy it. I would jump down another rabbit hole like this. Would I want to know more about these characters' lives? Actually, yeah, a little bit. How the Roottrees and all the drama and everything. But yeah, sometimes you just let it go too. Just keep on going.
And it's been pretty inspirational for a lot of other developers. It's the biggest game to take off to date that has a very good like search and analytics mix.
Mm.
Previously, most of the games that have taken off have been very heavy on one side or the other. So like, yeah, Obra Dinn and the Golden Idol are a great case of, heavy on the analytics side, but like the search part of it is not the focus of the game. Whereas here, like the searching is a very core part, but then you do have to analyze that information. It's not just searching.
And you get little nudges along the way. As I said, one of the best hint systems I've used in a while.
Mm-hmm. I have high hopes for what we see more of coming up with people drawing inspiration from this and from other games and continuously remixing. And we're still definitely very early on with this. It feels like every year or so, somebody discovers something fun and new that inspires a lot of other people. Like this was sort of the big inspirational game from, I think, 2024.
Mm.
And so a lot of people got inspired there. And then, of course, later from the Steam version, 2025 version was Type Help, and then the upcoming release or expansion for that. So we're still early days on this, and I love it.
And yet we're back to the 90s.
Well, thematic details. Yeah, I can't recommend this game strongly enough for anyone who thinks they would be interested.
And as I said, as long as you can do search engines, it's an easy game to do. Mechanic wise, as again, you'd have to be able to read.
Yeah, like this is one I can recommend to my dad to play because he does not have good reflexes, but this is exactly the speed of motor challenge required.
Ooh, I just also realized like there's also like a weird voyeuristic appeal to it. Like you're digging into the gossipy parts of somebody, of a family with money and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that kind of mystery.
I like that all weaves together in a fun way.
Looks like 72% of people have completed the game.
Ooh, that's impressive.
I'm looking at the achievements. Also 100% at this one. You could tell I like a game when I'm like going in back to 100% it.
Yeah, I looked at what would need to be done to 100% it and decided I didn't want to do that, but it was tempting. I took the step of stopping and looking.
I think the hardest one to do would be the call screener achievement. Let the machine handle the call, because that only happens one time. Everything else you can kind of go back and doing. And I got that achievement because I was not realizing what was going on. I was just so delirious at that point. And I was like, oh no, I don't know how to answer the phone. Oh no. And then you hear the answering machine like, oh, hey, I got an achievement. Nice.
Yeah, that was one of the ones where I'm like, I've already played through. I don't want to go through again and trigger that. I guess I could just hammer the duck to speedrun it.
I mean, you don't need the duck because you know what to do.
Yeah, but like you still need to find the pictures, and I might not remember where some of them are, all that jazz.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't think there's a lot of replayability in this one. Once you know, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem for most of our games.
Yes.
You got to wait till your memory fades.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it might be replayable after 5 to 10 years, depending on the person.
I think it's also pretty good to like play with somebody, like watch somebody else experience for the first time.
Oh yeah, this would be a great play on the couch with your partner kind of game.
With a big TV so you can read.
Oh yeah, or I was thinking like a big laptop, not a little like 10-incher. So, what have you been playing lately besides the Root Trees?
Got back in the swing of Helldivers since at the time of this, they just did the robot invasion thing, and that did not go well for everybody. But it was fun. I've been punching through Disco Elysium. Oh my god, it's so much nihilism.
So much.
So much. Trying to figure out, damn it, Kuno, what are we supposed to do with you?
I love how a game made by an anarcho-communist collective makes you want to commit police brutality within 5 minutes of meeting Kuno.
And Kuno is, yeah.
I legitimately debated, like, can I just kill this guy? Like, what would happen to the story if I just attempt to murder him?
And that's how we know we're bad people.
Yep. I just wrapped Disco like the other weekend, so I'm right there with you on that.
How many days is it? I'm on this day 2.
For me, it was about 5 days, but there was a time skip, so it was actually 7, maybe.
Okay. I think I also beat the ABC Murders.
Yeah, we'll have to put that one on the menu.
One of my coworkers suggested Don't Feed the Monkeys.
I have no idea about that one.
Yeah. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. 'Cause, yeah, I played through Disco Elysium, and then I'm currently playing Alien Morgue, which is kind of like What If Papers, Please, but no timer, so there's no stress, and instead you're doing autopsies on aliens to find the cause of death. But you're probably an alien too. It's not like the aliens are secret kind of thing. It's just, there's different races and species to do autopsies on, and it's very odd but fun.
I'm looking for more games so I can play on my Steam Deck when I'm moving around.
Ah, yeah, that one. Not sure about.
I think like the Beekeeper's Picnic. I was like powered it up on my computer. I was like, nope, the pixelation and everything. Like, no, this is a Steam Deck one. I'm gonna save for that.
Yep, that makes sense. That's a good deck game. All right. You can find us on Blue Sky at Flatfoots and Fools, one word. You can join our Discord to talk about any detective games. I'll have a link in the show notes. Podcast is edited by Peter Crevier. Podcast art is by Lolita Gross. And music is by Antonic Music. Have a good night, everyone.